Before you file your tax return, you need to be on the lookout for two important letters from the IRS. Let's walk through what those mean. People who received a third stimulus check are going to get a letter labeled 6475. This will help you figure out if you received the stimulus check that was issued in March or if you should claim the recovery rebate card on your tax return in the spring. The second letter is for anybody who received monthly child tax credit payments. The 6419 letter is going to tell you how much money you received in advance.
So the lawmakers have ended sessions for the year, and it probably won't happen in 2022. If it does eventually pass, those who are eligible stand to receive a one-time check of $500 for single filers and $1,000 if you're filing jointly. Montana also has $1 billion budget surplus for the year in two separate proposals. The Republican factions within the state legislature have introduced bills to return that to residents' taxpayer rebate programs. One proposal suggests $1,000 for homeowners who paid property tax and $1,200 for residents who paid state income tax. The other proposal asks for a $3,000 income tax rebate. A substantial 2022 budget surplus is also the focal point of a new bill in North Carolina. It will put money in the pockets of residents. There are $6.5 billion at stake. Democratic lawmakers have suggested using it for $200 gas tax rebates for the local taxpayers just to help combat the high prices of fuel. So like in Montana, some in the local state are pushing back, preferring to reduce the income tax rather than issue a one-time payment. There's been no decision on this proposal yet, but according to the press, Pennsylvania currently has a property tax renters rebate program in place for the low income. The standard benefit is $650. However, the elderly, widows and widowers and the disabled could see up to $975 in stimulus checks. The governor has even suggested a new measure as part of the program. It would offer a one-time payment of $2,000 to people that qualify for the stimulus checks. I just hope that President Biden sends out more stimulus payments within the next couple of days. It's important for him to do this. We have 10 news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SDDI. Continue watching because you definitely don't want to miss out on this video. It's very important news and you guys have to keep watching. On January 1st, an array of the bills and four stimulus checks have actually been approved. So, big pieces of this landmark Inflation Reduction Act from Joe Biden is signed into law, and half months ago they are set to go in effect in a couple of days. During a speech, Joe Biden said we were just getting started. The effects will be felt from healthcare to clean energy. So here are some important key provisions for the law and that you need to know about. Two much touted proportions of the bill concerning healthcare started on January 1st. The soon to be implemented changes induce and include a new inflation cap that limits how much prescription manufacturers can change the price of prescriptions, and new rules that ensure that people enrolled in Medicare prescription plans don't even pay more than $35 a month for insulin. Breaking the stimulus news, everybody. So we finally have some good news. Manchin says he will want to support major pieces of President Biden's agenda. Sources close to Manchin say the Democrats are going to make a big mistake by waiting for him to lay out precisely what he'd support. Manchin has expressed interest in passing a bill through the filibuster-proof reconciliation process that will raise taxes, reduce the deficit, cut prescription costs, and fund energy and climate measures. Manchin also began leading bipartisan talks on energy over the last 2 weeks. But sources close to Manchin believe Democrats are making an error by waiting for Manchin to create his own detailed legislation. In a statement, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi said, "The best approach would be for the White House to come up with a plan, get his approval, and then hand it off. He's not going to write a bipartisan bill, and that's not who he is." White House officials insist they've been sounding out Manchin about what he's willing to support. Schumer met recently with Joe Manchin behind closed doors in what was billed as a conversation about combating inflation. Schumer said the meeting was good and that they were going to continue talking. Schumer added that the only way to get rid of inflation is through reconciliation because the Republican is willing to raise taxes. Joe Manchin has said he'd support a package of higher taxes on upper earners and corporations, as long as new spending programs are funded permanently and half the savings are put to deficit reduction. So while Manchin has kept the door open to extending healthcare benefits, Joe Manchin reiterated his support today for a filibuster-proof bill, saying his top priority is to combat inflation. He told reporters, "My main thing is inflation and fighting inflation with tax reforms. We ought to get rid of this debt and start in a responsible way, handling our finances." Manchin has acknowledged an obviously hurdle to a bipartisan deal. Any such package would have to be paid for, and Republicans are opposed to raising taxes to finance it. Lawmakers across the country are proposing a few different measures intended to provide relief at the pump as record-high gas prices hit drivers' pocketbooks. So while the Biden administration considered the idea of sending gas cards through the IRS House Democrats have pitched ideas mirroring some popular crisis relief programs like stimulus checks and advanced child tax credits. Now, just a few weeks ago, the average price of a gallon of gas was over $3, $5 in 3 states like California, Hawaii, and Nevada. Several other states like Washington and Oregon are inching closer to the painful price point. With that in mind, lawmakers are looking for ways to help Americans feeling the pinch. Here's what that means. Recently, Colorado Governor Jared Polis has signed the state budget. An act says that he will boost reserves to the highest recorded levels in state history, while also delivering an $800 million stimulus package to help people in Colorado recover from the crisis. Lawmakers are marketing the stimulus package as the Colorado comeback. Polis originally asked lawmakers for $1.3 billion in stimulus spending, vowing that the amount could create 15,000 new jobs in the private sector. But the legislature landed on a more conservative number, and that's $800 million. The broad collection of legislation is made up of everything from small business support to funding for new infrastructure projects. Polis, Newsom, and Jana Mills are allocating more funds to round of state stimulus checks for their residents, and that's good news. The Biden administration has introduced a brand new program that would actually provide millions of people with financial aid, and there are over 5 different payments that can be claimed by low-income households right now. So to find out if you're eligible for this fourth stimulus check and an increase in Social Security benefits, just continue watching this video. You definitely don't want to miss out on it.
Gentlewoman from Minnesota reserved. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Here's a formula for the destruction of democracy, repeating Putin's propaganda and disinformation and appeasing imperialist assaults on sovereign nations. Madam Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from Washington, Ms. Jayapal.
Gentlelady from Washington is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Workers' rights are human rights. The labor movement has shown us what is possible when we dream big and fight hard. And tonight we will clear yet another hurdle in the battle for workplace safety and dignity. I thank my colleague, Representative Levin, for his tremendous leadership on this resolution. With House Resolution 915, congressional staff.
It's my pleasure to call today's hearing to order on the nomination of the Honorable Christy Goldsmith Romero, Kristen Johnson, Summer Mersinger, and Caroline Pham to serve as commissioners of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. Welcome to the nominees, and I have to say, to begin, I can't think of a better way to start Women's History Month, but celebrating these strong, competent women. It's a pleasure to have all of you here today and to have your families with you. The CFTC has gone far too long without its full complement of commissioners. Today's hearing for 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans is an important step toward getting this financial watchdog back to its full capacity. It's critical that we confirm these nominees without delay. The invasion of Ukraine has led to price volatility in wheat and other agricultural markets, and there are reports that U.S. efforts to limit